Today, we're diving into the aftermath of the 37th America's Cup. You've provided us with some great articles and even a YouTube video, so we're going to break down the venue debate, and even get into some whispers about what the future holds for this historic race.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty, what's the one headline our listeners should absolutely not miss coming out of the 37th America's Cup?
Well, the sailing world is buzzing right now with the news that the Royal Yacht Squadron has been confirmed as the challenger of record for the 38th America's Cup.
That means Great Britain, hot off a string of wins, is back to try and snag the trophy. And their team, Ineos Britannia, will be working directly with the Defenders Emirates Team New Zealand to shape the future of the event. This is their second time in a row in this crucial role, and it speaks volumes about their ambition.
Okay, so for those of us who might not be fluent in America's Cup lingo, what exactly does challenger of record mean? Why is this such a big deal?
It's the key to the whole shebang. Think of it like this. In the lead-up to each America's Cup, a yacht club steps up with a challenge, basically saying, we're coming for you. That club becomes the challenger of record.
They get to negotiate the rules and format of the next cup with the team that won the previous event. So in this case, Great Britain's Royal Yacht Squadron through Ineos Britannia has a huge say in how the 38th Cup will play out.
High stakes. And they've proven they're a force to be reckoned with. Speaking of playing out, let's talk location. Where in the world could this epic showdown take place?
Well, all eyes were on Barcelona as a potential repeat host. The city really pulled out all the stops for the 37th America's Cup. Massive crowds, picture-perfect weather, and that undeniable Mediterranean charm.
Plus, let's not forget the infrastructure. Top-notch team bases, facilities for those incredible super yachts, and those buzzing event villages that were free for everyone to enjoy. It seemed like a winning formula.
A tough act to follow. But didn't some of those articles mention concerns about Barcelona's wind conditions? That was a hot topic during the last Cup, wasn't it?
You're right. Wind can be a fickle friend, especially in an event where hundredths of a second matter. While the AC-75 class, with their incredible foiling capabilities, can handle lighter winds, it does throw a wrench into the planning. Consistent, challenging wind is what makes for those truly spectacular races.
So if we're talking contenders for the hosting gig, who else is in the running?
Well, a surprise contender has emerged. Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Now, before we delve into the logistics, let's address the elephant in the room. The financial incentives Jeddah could offer are undoubtedly a major draw.
The scale of their investment could be game-changing for the event.
Money talks. But I imagine there's more to this equation than just finances. What about Auckland? Could New Zealand be tempted to bring the cup back home?
It's definitely a possibility. Auckland boasts the infrastructure, the experience, and a deep-rooted history with the America's Cup. Plus, think of the electric atmosphere a home event would generate. Those Kiwis are passionate about their sailing, and cheering on Emirates Team in New Zealand on their home turf would be something special.
The hometown advantage is a real thing. But haven't there been whispers about funding challenges in New Zealand?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Securing the massive funding required to mount another successful campaign, especially against teams potentially backed by nations with vast resources, is a tall order, even for a country as sailing mad as New Zealand.
So we've got two potential contenders, each with its own set of advantages and challenges. What about the timeline? When could we realistically expect the 38th America's Cup to set sail?
Grant Dalton, the mastermind behind Emirates Team New Zealand, has hinted at a potential 2026 Cup. He seems keen on a quick turnaround, which strategically makes sense, keeping the momentum going.
A tight turnaround indeed. What factors would influence that timeline? What needs to be decided?
Well, the venue plays a huge role. A Southern Hemisphere event would likely happen later in the year because of weather patterns, and of course there are the negotiations with the challenger of record.
They'll have a big say in the protocol and the timeline, too. Remember, they want to win this thing.
It's like a high-stakes chess match before they even hit the water. So, new cup, new possibilities. What about the stars of the show, the boats themselves? Will we see those incredible AC-75s back in action? Or could there be a radical design shakeup on the horizon?
From what we're hearing, the AC-75s are here to stay, at least for the next Cup. There's reportedly an agreement in place, but as any seasoned America's Cup enthusiast knows, in this game, things can change faster than the wind.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Refinements, or a complete overhaul of the AC-75 rule. What are the experts saying?
One of those fascinating debates revolves around technology, specifically automation. Ben Ainsley, the skipper for Ineos Britannia, raised a really thought-provoking point. He's wondering if these yachts are becoming almost too automated. potentially overshadowing the raw skill and athleticism that have always defined the America's Cup.
That's a question that goes beyond sailing. Where do you draw the line between cutting-edge technology and the human element in any sport?
Exactly. It's a balancing act. And it gets even more complex when we bring another crucial conversation into the mix, the role of women in the America's Cup.
Especially after the incredible success of the Women's America's Cup, it seems like there's a real push for greater female representation on those AC-75s.
Absolutely. And there are some passionate voices on both sides of the debate about how to achieve that.
Some, like Stefan Candler from the Orient Express racing team, are firmly in favor of mandated female crew positions on the AC-75s. They argue that it's high time we see women competing at the very pinnacle of this sport.
And I imagine others aren't as keen on that idea.
You're right. Grant Dalton, for example, has gone on record saying he would never mandate female crew members on the AC-75s.
Wow, talk about a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
What are the arguments for and against mandating female crew members? It seems like this issue goes beyond just ticking a box.
It does. Proponents of mandated positions argue that it's about leveling a playing field that has historically been tilted against women. They point to the extraordinary talent and skills showcased in the Women's America's Cup as proof positive that women have what it takes to compete at this level. They believe that mandating positions would open doors and create opportunities that simply wouldn't exist otherwise.
And what about the other side of the coin? What are the arguments against mandating female crew members?
The opposition often centers around the idea of meritocracy. They believe that crew selection should be based solely on skill and experience regardless of gender. Mandating positions, they argue, could be seen as undermining this principle. There are also logistical concerns about how such a change would be implemented, particularly in terms of crew dynamics and boat design. These are complex machines, and changing crew configuration could necessitate design modifications.
It's a multifaceted issue with strong arguments on both sides. What's clear is that this isn't just about sailing. It's about the future of a sport and the values it embodies.
Absolutely. And speaking of the bigger picture, we can't overlook the profound economic and social impact of an event like the America's Cup. Didn't Helen Clark, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, speak about this very thing?
She did. She eloquently highlighted the crucial role the America's Cup plays in boosting New Zealand's global recognition. She emphasized the tourism revenue, the technological advancements that stem from the innovation required to compete, and the immense sense of national pride that washes over the country when they host this prestigious event.
It's incredible how this one event has such far-reaching implications. We've talked about the battle for hosting rights, the cutting-edge technology, the push for inclusivity, and even national pride. But let's be real, all of this comes at a price. The budgets for these campaigns are astronomical.
You're not kidding. The rising costs have become a major concern. They're creating a barrier to entry for some teams and raising serious questions about the long-term sustainability of the America's Cup. If only the most affluent nations and individuals could afford to compete, it undermines the very spirit of the event.
And didn't one of our sources mention a potential solution to that very problem, a way to level the playing field, so to speak?
They did. It's a bold idea that's got everyone talking.
Yeah.
A total budget cap for the 38th America's Cup.
Grant Dalton has floated this concept as a way to rein in the out-of-control spending and make the competition more about innovation and strategy than simply who has the deepest pockets.
Now, that's an intriguing proposition. A budget cap could shake things up dramatically. What would that mean for the teams? How would they adapt?
It would be fascinating to watch. Suddenly, teams wouldn't be able to throw unlimited resources at every challenge. They'd have to become incredibly strategic about their spending, prioritizing certain areas over others. We might see a shift in focus from brute force technological development to more ingenious, cost-effective solutions. It could lead to a whole new era of innovation in the America's Cup.
It would add a whole other layer of competition, wouldn't it? Like a strategic game of chess played out both on and off the water.
Exactly. And who knows, it might even open the door to more diverse teams, teams that might not have the backing of billionaires, but have that ingenuity and sailing prowess to challenge the established order. It's a gamble, but one with potentially huge rewards for the sport.
From potential rule changes to the ongoing debate about inclusivity and now this radical budget cap idea, it sounds like the future of the America's Cup is brimming with possibilities. This is a pivotal moment for this historic event, isn't it?
It absolutely is. The decisions made over the next year or two will shape the very DNA of the America's Cup for decades to come. Will it continue to push the boundaries of technology, even if it means becoming a playground for the ultra-wealthy? Or will it find a way to balance innovation with accessibility, ensuring a more level playing field and preserving the Corinthian spirit that defined its early years? It's a complex equation with no easy answers.
What's clear is this. The America's Cup isn't just a race. It's a reflection of who we are, a microcosm of the broader conversations happening in our world today. It's about technology, yes, but also about sustainability, equality, and the enduring allure of human ambition. It's about pushing limits while staying true to the heart of a sport.
Well said. And as we wait with bated breath to see what unfolds, it begs the question, what would you do? If you were calling the shots, what would your vision for the future of the America's Cup look like?
That's something for all of us to ponder. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter.